We couldn't have asked for much better in a Week 1 matchup, especially when it's against the Bears. Jordan Love had a great debut to the season, and there's way more to celebrate besides him. We'll recap the first game of the season and look forward to the next week against the Falcons. As always, we have plenty of feedback from the incredible community. All this and more coming up next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
How you doing, Packers fans? Me? Fantastic. Podcasting since 2005, I'm Wayne Henderson, and upon further review, that's right, the Bears still suck.
And I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and I couldn't be happier about this week's outcome. Sure, it's just the Bears, but I have to admit both sides of the ball looked quite impressive this week, and I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about the future. On this 276th edition of the Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, Wayne and I will recap the Packers' big win over the hated Bears, and it's a listener feedback extravaganza. You'll want to stay tuned for us sharing your excitement-filled calls.
And we are looking forward to next Sunday's Packers at Falcons matchup, including Scott's keys to another Packers victory.
And Wayne, I got to kick things off and tell you, man, I got a little bit of a story to tell you, because as you know from last week, I was up in the Porcupine Mountains, up in the UP of Michigan this weekend, and I was really upset because I wasn't going to be able to watch the game. Well, as it turns out, when we came into the Porcupine Mountains, we found a little restaurant/bar/hotel, and we stopped in there and said, hey, by any chance, are you going to be playing the Packers game? And they said, we are going to be playing the Packers game. So on Sunday, which was last night as of this recording, we decided to hike to our campsite, which is like a cabin. It's about 3.5-4 miles. And then we got all our stuff undone and decided to hike all the way back to our car, 3.5 miles, just so that we could watch the game. Now, we couldn't watch the whole thing because it takes, an hour 15 minutes to hike through the woods to our cabin. And we could not, we did not want to do that at night. So shortly after halftime, I had to, we had to make our way back. And I watched the last half of the game in the car on the way back. So I just had to tell you, I did get to watch the game. I missed kickoff. So thank goodness they won.
No blame to be spread.
All right, it would have been my fault, but I also have to tell you, I met some amazing Packers fans while I was there. There was about 4 people sitting at a table near the bar where I was sitting, and they were watching the game, and they were very loud and boisterous. And when I got loud and boisterous, they turned around and looked at me and they said, "We're really glad that you're on our side." And it was quite awesome. I cannot remember all 4 of their names, but I know there was a Sue, and there was a Corinne, maybe. I'm so sorry. I tried to remember all their names, but I told them about Packers Fan Podcast, asked them to listen. So hopefully they're hearing this. I just wanted to give a shout out to them and say it was an awesome. It was a pleasure to meet you guys, and it was just I had a really good time chatting with them for the first half of the game. Wish I could have stuck around, but it is what it is.
That's amazing. I'm glad that worked out because we were just thinking here at the house. How Scott, is he going to get any sort of signal? Can he at least watch kickoff and then watch the rest on the way home? So I'm glad it worked out. Here on my end, have a YouTube TV and the NFL Sunday Ticket, and it worked fantastic. It worked better than it had worked in years past at my son's on DirecTV because the multi-view stream was fantastic, especially for the morning games before the Packers played, because I could have 3 games on at once, as well as the NFL Red Zone in another box, and and the picture was fantastic. I don't know if they just have some new cutting edge video compression, but it looked great.
It's awesome. We actually went the YouTube route this year as well. We don't have the NFL ticket like you do. It didn't spring for that, but at least we can watch the local games. We're going to watch the Jets-Bills game as soon as we're done recording here, and it's going to be my first time using that service. But my wife watched the game live using that, and she said it's pretty great. I got to give a shout-out, though, to listener David Newman, who was very generous to try to add me to his family on YouTube so that he could share his service with me. Unfortunately, I could not get it to work. It recognized I was in a different state than he was, so they would probably thought it wasn't legit. So we just went ahead and purchased the service ourselves. But thank you, David, for the offer. I really do appreciate it. I wish I could have made it work, but It is what it is. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it and start with the highlights because there are many of them. There is so much to love in this game. Like I mentioned in the intro, could not have asked for a much better week one performance by the Packers. It was awesome. Let's start with the leaders in the game. Jordan Love, 15 for 27 for 245 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He did lose the ball once. However, it was not lost. Green Bay was able to recover it. So pretty good outing for, for a guy that's not Favre or Rodgers. And I thought he looked really solid. Aaron Jones was the leading rusher here's what's funny. Aaron Jones was the leading rusher and the leading receiver for the Green Bay Packers, which was kind of awesome. But he had 9 carries for 41 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown, a total of 86 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. So he was a beast this game. Also got to give a shout out to Luke Musgrave, our rookie tight end.
Yes.
He had 3 receptions for 50 yards. It was really cool to see him get some play. It's kind of tradition for tight ends to not really see their due until like season 2 or season 3. To see him make some clutch plays in the opener was pretty great. And lastly, Romeo Doubs had only 26 yards. However, 2 touchdowns. So that was solid.
Fantastic.
Really great performance.
Indeed, it was. And although it doesn't show up in the stats or the leaderboard, a shout out also to Van Ness on defense. Dude is fast, and I'm expecting great things.
Yes, I think that was a very well-chosen pick. Very happy with that. Before we go on to the other highlights, Wayne, I just want to ask, because, it's the question on everybody's lips before the game is how is Jordan Love going to do? How did you think he did? Those are the stats. 15 for 27. We're just under 50%, so it's not a great percentage there, but 245 yards, pretty decent. But overall, how do you think he looked?
I thought he looked and played even better than I had hoped because, even with my rose, green, and gold colored glasses, I'm not expecting fantastic things the very first game, but it was so good to see, calm under pressure, and he had a couple of low snaps sent to him, and one of them landed on the turf, and I worried for a split second that there was going to be some panic and chaos, but he just picked it up and threw it for a long reception, and all right, I can go with that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, he does what I love with a quarterback on our team is that he's a fundamental quarterback. He's not trying to be flashy. He's not trying to, be the guy. He's just trying to be a team player and a leader, and that is what this team has sorely needed. That's what we got from Aaron Rodgers for the majority of his career with Green Bay. So it's really cool to see that happening. I'm very happy for him. I just hope that trend continues because it is only 1 week, and it was the Bears. They've got a young defense just like we have a young offense. We just took the edge there, so that I was very happy to see that. But yeah, I think he's well on his way to being a superstar. It's going to take some time. I'm not saying he is a superstar yet, but I'm saying there's lots and lots of potential, and I'm just trying not to get my hopes up too much because, I don't want to be disappointed, but at the same time.
Like Bears fans? Paper champions.
It's also great that I kept saying this while I was watching the game. Is like, it feels great to be a running team. We've relied on the pass so much. And yes, there were plenty of pass plays as well, but to see the focus being on the run, there is multiple runs in a row, and a lot of that probably is to do with not relying on Jordan Love because it is his first game of the season. It's everybody's first game of the season, but to take a little bit of pressure off that. But even when he was passing, just solid, fundamental quarterback sportsmanship is just what I like to see. Anyway, we got more to talk about. We had a nice defensive stop on the Bears' opening drive to give the Pack good field position. This concluded with a huge 4th down stop on the Bears' 40-yard line. They had to review it. I was on pins and needles, and then when the call was made, it was great. That led to a 3rd down touchdown pass to Romeo Doubs, which was so much better than settling for a field goal, which is what I was kind of expecting. And it's important to note, too, that touchdown, Wayne, is significant because, it was a first touchdown for, it was a first drive touchdown score for Green Bay. If you were to look back at last season, there was only one game the entire last season where we scored a touchdown on the opening drive, and we did it in week 1. So that's a pretty awesome feeling to get that monkey off our back. All we got to do is do it one more time and we beat last year's record.
Amazing.
I think it's a good thing.
I mean, granted, the great field position really helped, but still, a touchdown is a touchdown, and I will take it in the field position. Who knows? We may get that again next week. We'll have to wait and see. For me, I just about fell out of my chair and lost my voice when Quay Walker had his pick six. I love that he's running back for his touchdown. He's bouncing off a Bear defender that's trying to tackle him, which should have been that Bear defender's easiest tackle of the day. But he just bounced off of him, turned around, goes the rest of the way for a touchdown. But man, he got hit hard when he was crossing that goal line. I hope he's going to be okay soon. Last I heard, there was a potential concussion. The protocol can take a few days, but what an amazing touchdown for Quay.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very, very fun to watch. And like you said, he should have been down multiple times before he ran into that end zone. To me, I was just waiting for him to fall. You know what I mean? I mean, not like take the fall, but it was so late in the game, we didn't really necessarily need the score. It wasn't a must score, but to see him just refuse to give up was exactly what you want to see from this team. And I feel like they're very fired up, even going into the third and fourth quarters of this game. It was awesome.
Was that about the point of the game where the Bears had pulled to within 10 points and all their fans were getting back into the game because they sniffed having a chance because they were only 10 points down, and then Quay Walker, well, it could have been a dagger.
I was going to say, would you consider that the dagger of the game?
I do, just because I lost my voice. I hit replay 3 times because it was the most amazing thing I'd seen all day long.
That's amazing. There was also a beautiful pass play to Aaron Jones in our first drive in the second half. It was an awesome TD. And then a drive or two later, we went for it on 4th and 3. There was a touchdown, and it gave us an even more amazing Aaron Jones touchdown, but it was at a price. But man, Aaron Jones was just all over the place, and it was so great to see him not just rushing, but also catching passes and scoring touchdowns. It was incredible. It
was definitely a tale of two halves, because at halftime, we were all wondering, where did Jonesy go? We want more Aaron Jones. And then immediately in the second half, we got a lot more Aaron Jones. So good to see, and hoping that hamstring is not going to be serious and he'll be doing okay. And how about Anders Carlson's 52-yard field goal that was almost perfect? I mean, granted, it was weird not seeing Money Mason Crosby out there, but that was a hell of a field goal.
I think that thing would have been good for 65 yards. Wow. It's just incredible.
Ooh, maybe a Lambeau in a couple weeks.
There you go. Let's do it. And how about the defense's handling of Justin Fields? I think that's definitely worth mentioning. The guy was sacked 4 times for a total combined loss of 27 yards. You mentioned Lucas Van Ness. He was one of them. Devontae Wyatt had 1, and he had a second that he shared with Kenny Clark, and then also Carl Brooks. Just dominating, keeping Justin Fields on the ground. And just overall, they really kept him from being able to run as much as he would have liked. We kind of expected him to be scampering, and they just kind of shut that down. But the defense overall, I just think it should be praised. The Bears had 13 third downs the entire game, and they were only able to convert on 3 of them. That is huge. That is us doing what needs to be done on third down. And if we can continue that trend for the rest of the season, things could be looking up.
Amen to that.
We need to move on to some lowlights. Unfortunately, the biggest one is going to be injuries. There's far too many of them. I mean, we had some even before the season began. But
right.
You mentioned Aaron Jones' hamstring. Quay Walker could potentially have concussion. Even wide receiver Jaden Reed got banged up with some cramps. And don't forget, Christian Watson didn't even play this week, also with a hamstring injury. He's currently a week-to-week situation, so we don't even know if he's going to be available next week or not. But hey, if Jones can do it, we're okay. We can do that. And throw Dillon in the mix in there. Things are looking up.
It's a beautiful thing. Another low light that really struck me was the Bears players who went ballistic, thinking that we did a late hit out of bounds on Justin Fields. It just really ticked me off. I was screaming at the TV, and not for happy reasons, because Justin Fields was so clearly in bounds. There should have been even more flags thrown against the Bears at that point, as well as a few other times during the game. I mean, sure, some Packers players were not totally innocent throughout the game, but I believe 80% of the scuffles were all initiated by the Bears. I mean, I just hate this team. And watching them get embarrassed at home yet again brought an extra level of joy to my cold heart.
I genuinely did not see what the foul against the Packers was. All I saw was the shove by the Bears player, but I'm with you, man. That hit, knocking him out of bounds, he was like a good 2 yards in bounds. Exactly. It wasn't even close. So I don't really understand what they were getting upset about. And it's not like he even got knocked to the ground. He didn't. It wasn't a hard hit. It was just like getting him out of bounds and make sure he didn't progress any further. But yeah, if both sides were due for a penalty, then I'm all for it. I didn't see what the Packers players did. I only saw the aftermath, but the refs saw more than we did. So the only other negative I could come up with, which was really hard to come up with one this week, is that Jordan Love needs to learn to slide. I appreciate the tenacity of his play, but he's got to be better at protecting himself. There was a one case where instead of sliding, he just took on 3 tacklers head on, and you can't do that, man. You are our guy now. You know what I mean? You need to take care of yourself. Take the slide. Don't worry about being a hero unless you got a wide open space. Hit the ground and let them come to you. He also got hit pretty hard near the sideline where he refused to slide. I think I think that's one of the things that the coaches need to focus on with him is to protect himself just as much as protecting the football. It's better to be safe than sorry. You agree?
I totally agree, though it was fun to watch, and we do have at least one listener voicemail later on in the show that's going to touch on that as well, but I'm sure there were discussions already today about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into listener feedback. I want to remind everybody to please join in on our upcoming podcast episodes by either calling the Packers Fan Podcast voicemail at 1-920-3PACK-GO or record your voice and email the recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. I do highly recommend you pre-record it and email it to us. It will sound so much better on the show. You'll be much happier with how your voice sounds than over a voicemail. Just letting you know. We want to hear some of your predictions for the Week 3 Saints at Packers game. Deadline for your calls most weeks will be Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, so we got one call first one comes from David Hawkins in Virginia.
Hey guys, David Hawkins, Arlington, Virginia, first-time caller to the show. What a great game today. Jordan Love looked amazing. He deserves all the credit in the world for today's game. Also, want to just give a huge shout-out to the offensive line. It didn't seem like they let any Bears within 5 or 10 yards of Love the entire game. Just hope they can keep that up. Boy, that it'll be hard to stop the Packers if they can keep that up. Looks like Atlanta put up 2 sacks today against the Panthers. So hoping they won't be able to do a whole lot against the Pack next week. One other thing, just wanted to mention, if Fox was trying to troll the Bears any harder, I don't know if they could have done it. Early in the game, they showed Jordan Love's mom in the stands, surrounded by all these Bears fans. About midway through the fourth quarter, they cut back to his mom, and there was just a bunch of empty seats around her. It was hilarious. The Bears fans just clearly knew the game was over, long before it actually was. Anyway, hoping for Green Bay 31, Atlanta 10 next week. Keep up the good work, guys. Thanks a lot. Go Pack, go.
Thank you so much, David, for calling in. That is a great way to kick off our feedback for this season. Very nicely done. I completely forgot to give a shout out to the O-line, so thank you for doing that. Yeah, he didn't get sacked once. Didn't even really come close to getting sacked. If he did, he scrambled out of there and took care of business. That was great to see. I love the story. I did not realize that was Jordan Love's mom. I was watching in a bar, and I remember seeing the shot of her surrounded by Bears fans. I did not make the connection that was Jordan Love's mom, but that's amazing that they just cut back to it later on after the Bears fans left. You know, true fan will stay for the whole game, even if they're blown out. Just saying. Right,
and at least trying to get some selfies with Jordan Love's mom. You know, even if you're a Bears fan, you should at least see if you can do that. In front of her, there were, I believe, 2 Packers fans. One of them I am connected with on Twitter, now known as X. but he made sure he shared the love too. So it was just those few in the stands near the end of the game. But so good. And David, see how great it sounds when you record on your phone and attach it to an email and send it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com, just like this next call.
Go Pack Go. Great week one win in Chicago. This is David out in San Antonio. It was great to see Green Bay get a win 38-20 over Chicago. It was much closer than I actually expected. I think I said 27-17, but I actually felt it had been much closer. Offensive line looked amazing. Jordan Love didn't look perfect, but when it mattered, third and fourth down looked excellent. Defense didn't quite, do what I was hoping it would do, but you know what? Still got the job done. I still have, expectations that they'd be like middle of the road, 6-7 wins, and that's okay. I'm all right with that, but I love seeing a win over Chicago. Green and gold, till I'm dead and cold. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go indeed, David. Thanks again for sending in your message as well. And yes, anytime we beat Chicago, that's a little extra boost, some spice on top of the victory. And yeah, we all kind of thought the game was going to be closer. And, if you take away that one garbage time touchdown the Bears got, the game was not close at all.
Yeah, David Newman now from San Antonio, not Virginia like he was. He's recently moved. So thanks for calling him, man. It's always a pleasure hearing from you. And he's a good buddy of mine over on the Gaming Outsider as well. He's actually one of our writers.
Indeed, and filling in for me last December when I had that COVID.
That's right. Very true.
Again, hopefully no more COVID.
Woo! What a way to start the season. I was so tempted to call with 5 minutes left in the game. This is Megan, by the way. Hi, everyone. Great to be back. But I decided to wait it out and watch the entire game. What a start. What a start. I'm going to start by giving Jordan Love all the credit in the world. He looked so much more poised and confident than he did last year. I get that he made some mistake throws, underthrows, overthrows, but regardless, he went to Chicago season opener, first game starting. I know he started Kansas City, but this is the real deal. He's had all the talk, all the doubt, everything over the off season, and he just proved people wrong. And he had an amazing O-line to support him in that, and it was just an all-around great team effort. I thought, let's see, I don't know where else to start. I'm just so happy that football is back. It's back. My hands hurt from clapping. My voice is sore from screaming. This is amazing. It's an amazing way to start the day. So I hope we keep it up. I have to talk about Aaron Jones. Obviously, he's a hell of a player. It was so fun to watch him run around. His long run, his 51-yarder, that was really awesome. I hope he's not too hurt. We really need him to stay healthy this year. Really, 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 really do. We need everyone to stay healthy. I loved Quay Walker's pick six. That was just amazing. And the fact that the guy got disqualified, the fact that it was Quay Walker making the play and not the one getting a penalty and not the one getting disqualified. He's matured, he's grown up, and that was super, super fun to watch. Van Ness's sack was awesome. It was great to have Rashawn back. Our defense totally came to play, especially the first half. I mean, the whole game, all around the board. Our kicker, he was awesome. I miss Mason. Also, I miss Aaron, but when Jordan ran it on third down in the third and he ran it up and he didn't quite make it, I was just if anyone who's listened to this knows how much I love Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron would have just kind of peeled down and shied away and kind of put his hands up by his helmet, and Jordan just went for it, and I freaking loved that. Oh, Jordan's mom deserves a closer seat, and she better be at least second row at Lambeau in a few weeks, at least. It was really fun to see her so excited for him, and as she should be. He really did awesome. Let's see. I'm really, really, really excited to watch Jordan grow throughout this season. Jair was awesome to see back. I wish we could have seen more of A.J. Dillon or at least more yardage from him, but he'll get there. We'll get there. And it was good to see Jaden Reed make those catches. I know he had a few drops, but they weren't 100% his fault. And I didn't feel like we had to see a lot of, I guess we did punt several times, and I was like, oh gosh, after the first one. But it's okay. It's okay. It's a new season, a new team. There's room for improvement, but there's a lot to be excited about, and I just can't wait for the rest of the season. I kind of last minute on a whim bought standing room tickets to the season opener, so I'm trying to talk my Vikings fan friend into going with me. I would never step foot in U.S. Bank Stadium, but she's coming to Lambeau because who wouldn't want to come to Lambeau Field? Let's freaking go! This is going to be the season. This is it. I'm so excited to be a Packer fan forever and ever and ever. Green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Let's go!
Hey, Megan, it is so awesome to hear from you. Love your voicemail. Your comment about Jordan Love, seeing him go for it. I do, like I said, I appreciate his fervor and wanting to go and make something happen. But it makes me a little nervous. I want to keep him protected. He's not as hated by the opposing teams yet, like Aaron Rodgers was. They kind of had his number. They wanted to hurt him. They may not want to hurt him yet, to take him out of the game, but that's coming, and he's got to protect himself. But I'm with you. I do appreciate his motivation to just keep going and not give up. So I hear you on the sore hands. And voice
Yes.
being gone, even though I only saw the one half of the game, it did not stop me from being very vocal in that bar that had like 8 people in it. It was pretty awesome. So
when you watched the second half in the car on the way home, didn't you yell and scream, looking at it on your phone and drive superfan Aaron crazy?
I couldn't, because a superfan, Aaron Peterson, who was in the car with me, was going to watch the game at home with his wife, so I could not give any details or anything that happened. So I had to kind of keep my thoughts and comments to myself.
I've never had to do that during a football game before.
I know. It was very wild. I have, actually, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but stay tuned for that later in the episode. I did not realize that the guy that hit Quay Walker was disqualified. I saw that play on replay, so I did not see any of the aftermath of that. Was it an intentional?
I didn't remember that part either.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I was hitting rewind and playing it over and over and yelling and screaming and all that. But it was so great to see Quay bouncing back from kind of a rough end to last season.
Yeah, exactly.
For him making a play like nobody's business. And Jordan Love's mom being in the crowd, that was great. And also near the end, they also highlighted that Kenny Clark's dad was able to see him play in a real game for the first time ever. So,
oh, wow.
Great to have your parents at the games, and so good. And Megan, heading to the home opener. Enjoy.
I'm a little bit jealous. I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
My wife
So
and I are
good.
still trying to figure out which game we're going to go to this year, because we've looked at the schedule, and it's just a very busy fall and holiday season, and but we're going to try our hardest to go to at least one at Lambeau, because I don't think we went last year, and it's just been too long. So got to go. You need to come up with this, Wayne.
I know the budget's not quite looking quite right for this particular season, but
Just need to win the lottery, man.
If I win the lottery, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, if I win the lottery, we're going to rent out one of the houses right near the neighborhood, and we're going to have a Packers Fan Podcast weekend party.
Oh, man, that would be so amazing. That would be great.
Go, Pack, go! Hi, all. This is Steve from Shelton, Washington. I'm just calling in to give you all a rowdy Go, Pack, go. I was meaning to call in last season, but I was waiting for what felt like a statement win. Didn't seem to materialize last year, but holy moly, it's good to get that monkey off of our back this fine Sunday evening. I'm so excited to have seen the great defense. Really was a full team effort, but especially want to really just laud the defense. I thought Jordan Love played commendably for basically what is effectively his first NFL start ever. He did more than could be asked of a similar rookie, and if you compare him to the rookies and even some of those third-year starters from years previously, he did pretty dang good. Perfect passer rating on third and fourth down is, not something to poo-poo at all, especially when it comes to quarterback play. And even Greg Olsen said it on the broadcast. So that was nice to hear from them. And they're normally talking nothing but trash. Anyway, I'll leave that with y'all, and love the podcast. Great hearing from y'all, and just leave you with a go Pack go. Bye.
Go Pack go. Steve, great to hear from you. I love your Go Pack go, and excellent point about this game being a statement win.
Yeah, I like that. That is a great way to phrase what happened on Sunday. They made a statement. People have been doubting Jordan Love. People have been doubting the Packers' future. This is a great way to start and shut those voices down.
Yeah, not only making a statement against the Chicago Bears and their fans who were talking incessantly ever since Aaron Rodgers got traded, that they were so excited that now that Aaron's gone, things are going to be different. Not just yet. But it was also a statement to the media and the NFL fans at large who were poo-pooing the Packers. And, granted, we have a lot more games to play, but
a lot more tougher teams to play too.
But, the Bears were paper champions from what a lot of people in the media were saying. Of course, some others are saying the Lions are paper champions and the others are crowning the Minnesota Vikings like they do every year.
Yeah.
We'll show up, we'll play, and you'll see.
Wayne, Scott, I'm from Texas. Got home a little late from work, but I had the game recorded. So that's why it's a little late. At least in Texas it is. Well, early in the morning. Jordan Love, awesome job. Started up a little rusty, but I think right now at this point it's kind of on the job training kind of thing. But he responded very, very, very well. And that's considering that he had no Watson playing. So defensive line did a great job against the run. They had a pretty good pass rush considering Justin Fields is a very mobile quarterback. The offensive line did a great job protecting Jordan Love. So that was good to see. And also the kicker, Carlson, he did a really good job. It's good to see that we have a pretty good kicker after legendary Mason Crosby. I also think that the special teams did a really, really good job on their coverage on the kickoffs. It looks great so far. Hopefully they can continue the momentum and they can just keep on building on this victory, and hopefully they can only get better and better and better. I think it was Jordan Reed, maybe that lent out, like maybe he hurt his knee or something. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But all in all, it's good to be back for another football season with Wayne and Scott, and looking forward to hopefully a great season. Thank you much. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed, Art. It's a pleasure to hear from you once again, man. Welcome back to NFL football, buddy. It is here, and I am all ready for it. It's awesome. I love how Art calls it on-the-job training.
Yeah.
Which brings up a really solid point about Green Bay's offense versus the Bears' offense, just in general. I'm not talking about just this week, but everybody poo-pooed the Packers organization for drafting Jordan Love in the first round when we had Aaron Rodgers right there. That was because they needed to get him ready, much like they got Rodgers ready, much like they got Favre ready. They don't do what the Bears do and just get a new quarterback and make him their guy right off the bat. And I really appreciate that about the Packers office, and I'm a believer in their methods now. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out so far. And yes, Anders Carlson, imagine, even when your job is kicking the ball, and some people poo-poo it and say you have one job, but when you're following a Packers legend like Mason Crosby, the highest scorer in Packers history, it's got to get inside your head a bit. But so far, so good. I'm liking what I see. And I agree, Art, it is great to be back.
And hey, he's 100%. He hasn't missed a field goal yet. So
I love these stats. He's well on his way.
It's awesome to see. Who knows? Maybe he'll be the top scorer for Green Bay someday. Someday.
Very amazing stuff.
Are you ready for this, guys? Are you ready for this season? Are you ready? I am definitely ready. After that win, man, I am on cloud nine. I can't believe how the defense dominated that game. Quay Walker, what can I say, dude? Man, you made those Bears look like human pinballs. And as far as Dobbs is concerned, I think we know who Love's security blanket is going to be going for the rest of the season. The guy was clutch. As far as Love, he definitely is a second-half player. He really came out after playing a little bit nervous. Hopefully, I think the rest of the guys got their butterflies out of their system. And for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how everything went. Couldn't ask for a better perfect start for Carlson. And as far as the special teams, they played really, really well. We just got some rookie mistakes to work out of some things, and hopefully the offensive line can continue to keep Love clean. And to end it all I can say is the Bears still suck. I'm out.
Ha ha. Well said, Garrett, and great to hear from you again this season on Cloud 9 because, I don't think anybody expected our defense to dominate quite like they did yesterday.
Absolutely. And boy, Garrett, I got to say, you're speaking both mine and Wayne's language, talking about pinball, because we both love us some pinball. It's crazy to say that special teams played well, right? I feel like it's been a long time since we've been able to say that consistently. So hopefully that trend continues because that was pretty rough the last year. I'm looking forward to seeing that trend continuing as we head into the rest of the season.
And Garrett pointing out that Dobbs could turn out to be a bit of a security blanket because without Christian Watson, and we did so well, and no offense to Christian because he's a brand new player, second year guy, but I almost forgot that we were missing anybody.
Yeah, I hear you. I was definitely missing him. I was like, I really wish Christian Watson were out here, but if he's not playing, he can't drop a game winning 70-yard pass, right?
No, brother. We had to hear about that every single game.
Yeah.
Got a bit ridiculous. Let's carry on and see who else gave us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO.
Hey, guys. This is Mark from New Lisbon. I am just enjoying this Packer win, taking it all in with all the shows and reading all the online stuff. But what a great win. What a great way to start the season. All summer long, we were so excited about this team and just seeing Jordan Love play. And Jordan Love was just fantastic. I think the poise and composure that he showed, I think he showed he's a lot more athletic than people think. But I think the one thing about Jordan Love that everybody overlooked was his knowledge of this offense. He's been in this offense for 4 years. He knows it. And it's Matt LaFleur's offense, not Aaron Rodgers calling audibles every other play. So his knowledge of the offense is, I think that's where the confidence and the composure comes from because he's so comfortable in this offense. So that was great watching him play. The other thing that just stood out, I do games on the radio in high school football in Juneau County here where I live. And the comment I make the most about games is games are won in the trenches. And our O-line protected and our defensive line pressured and dominated. And the game was won in the trenches. The Packers just dominated. And we have such a deep defensive line. We're so deep. We can sub in guys who, there's not a lot of drop off. So a lot of positives. I picked 3 stars, just guys that I thought stood out. I thought Darnell Savage was fantastic. I think Packer fans were worried about the safety play. We knew our corners were good with Douglas and Jair, but Darnell Savage was fantastic. Aaron Jones, of course, he's just such a superstar and so underrated, and that's fine if people don't want to give him his due. But Aaron Jones was just fantastic. He's a game changer. He's a home run hitter. And then Jordan Love. So those 3 guys, of course it's a team effort, but I thought those 3 guys stood out. So next week, this game doesn't mean a lot if we can't beat Atlanta. So we got to go to Atlanta and get a win. And thanks for having the podcast. Thanks for having me on. And we'll talk to you next week, guys. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go indeed. Mark, thank you so much for the call. Great to hear from you. You made a really solid point about everybody overlooking Jordan Love's grasp of Matt LaFleur's offense. That is something that I did not consider. He has not just been sitting on the sidelines waiting for his moment. He has been doing his homework and studying the offense, gelling with them, building some camaraderie with him, with the expectation that one day he was going to be leading this team, and he's doing a fantastic job. Really, really like that point. You mentioned the safeties and corners. Darnell Savage had some plays here. Don't discount Valentine either. He's a rookie this year as well, and I saw him in preseason. I think he's going to be a solid help there too. I think the secondary defense is looking really, really decent there as well.
And Mark, great to hear from you. And another point about Jordan Love's poise and composure, as well as being a little more athletic than some people thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's all good stuff. And as well as hearing that you have been calling some high school football games. Very cool. I did that here in town for a couple of years. I can't find any notes from way back in the day. I might have called a local game when Kenny Clark's high school team came up here to Ukaipa. We're in the same division, but I can't tell for sure. But keep up the great work, Mark. Great to hear from you. Have you been to New Lisbon, Scott?
I do not believe so. I don't even know where it is. I'm sorry. I know it's in Wisconsin, but I don't know the geography of where that's located. There's a lot of cities out there, man.
Well, New Lisbon is one of the few in Wisconsin that's easy to pronounce, like Green Bay. But some of those others, for a Californian, it took me years to have Sir Troy get me to pronounce Ashwaubenon. I still can't do it.
Ashwaubenon?
That one.
And Maquanago?
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Mark, we hope to hear from you after a victory in Atlanta. Polka time, ladies and gentlemen. Polka. Oh, yeah. Get that accordion. Oh, yeah.
Go, 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 Pack, go. Yes, happy Victory Monday, a 38-20 trouncing of the Chicago Bears. What better way to start the Jordan Love era? Oh, boy, was that a fun game to watch or what? To Scott's keys to a Packer victory, more rushing attempts than pass attempts, 32-27. The red zone, 3 for 3 in the red zone. What a huge plus. I can't remember the last time that's happened where we were perfect in the red zone. But we have to temper our expectations a little bit. This is a young squad. We were playing the Bears, who, as we just heard, suck. 9 penalties for 90 yards. That was Matt LaFleur's 9th straight win versus the Bears. And I did hear somewhere where Aaron Rodgers filed a quitclaim deed on ownership of the Bears, transferring it to Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, I'm guessing. The defense, 4 sacks, 1 interception with that pick 6. Quay Walker just ran into that bear and just bounced off of him like a pinball wizard, all the way back, getting all the way into the end zone. Forced fumble and a recovery. Jordan Love is now leading the NFL in quarterback rating and touchdown passes, tied with Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones of all people, not Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes. That's kind of a strange step, but again, temper our expectations. This is only week 1. The Bears are one of the worst teams in the league, as evidenced with they had the first round of the pick, or first pick in the draft, that they traded away to Carolina to acquire DJ Moore, who did absolutely nothing against Jaire Alexander, of course. Special teams, Keyshawn Nixon picking up right where he left off on kick returns, just kicking some tail. Jaden Reed showing his prowess returning punts. Anders Carlson, which was a question mark in preseason, perfect. 5 for 5 PATs and a 52-yard field goal that likely would have been good for, I would say, probably 60 yards. Like I said, what a way to start off the new Jordan Love era and the new look of the Green Bay Packers. Totally stoked about this season. But still, like I said, Wayne, put down your green and gold colored, rose-colored glasses. It's only week 1. Calm down. We're now in first place going into Atlanta next week, which Atlanta, they won their game but they're not looking that great. Honestly, on paper, and the stats I'm looking at, they probably should have lost, even though they won by 2 scores. Looks like they're going to be running the ball a lot, trying to keep the ball on the ground and keep that clock moving. They're also another young team, so they are going to be prone to mistakes. I'm picking another low-scoring game for the Falcons, that is. I'm picking, when our wager fun, Green Bay Packers 31, Atlanta Falcons 14. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Is he still going?
Oh, yeah. That just gets you going. That was so good. Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow. Excellent call. Thanks for recording that on your phone and sending it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. And the best point of all, was that a fun game to watch or what?
It totally was an incredibly fun game to watch, especially the second half.
And the fact that we were 3 for 3 in the red zone, and part of that could be due to the Packers following your keys to victory that Dan gave you props for.
I do something right once in a while.
Now, I heard at least twice, maybe 3 times in the call that Wayne should temper his expectations. Dan, I can't do that. Come on.
It's not just Wayne. It's the majority of Packers fans that are already ready to claim victory. I got a group chat text message with some fellow Packers fans, and somebody was saying in there, man, we could go to the Super Bowl with this team. We could go to the Super Bowl. Guys, this is the Bears. Okay, it's week 1, and they came out, on fire. Kudos to them. But we've got a lot more difficult teams ahead of us. I think the way that Dan said it is, this win's not going to do us a whole lot of good if we can't get back past Atlanta. So I think he's right to say temper our expectations, because was this a lightning strike situation, or is this the team we're going to get throughout the rest of the season? We don't know, because we haven't seen them fully fledged for more than 1 week. So it is still going to be a wait and see kind of game, but I am remaining as optimistic as possible, taking off the rose-colored glasses that Wayne keeps on permanently.
Oh, my. We'll have to wait and see. And, of course, Atlanta, this is going to be an interesting test, and we'll cover it a bit more in our preview coming up in just a little bit here on the show. But now we're going to play in an indoor stadium with field turf, which I hate. But Aaron Rodgers always thrived at the indoor games. Let's see if Jordan Love, how he does in that. And I'm just thankful that on that pick 6 that Quay didn't tilt when he was bouncing around like a pinball. We didn't want the whole field to tilt. There was a bit of a nudge there. Yeah, thank you. A bit of a nudge there right at the end as he crossed the goal line. But nope, held on. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
I love how you said he picked a low-scoring game, but it was still 31 points for the Packers. I thought that was pretty clever.
Love it.
Also, we got an email. This one says, "Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is CCR from Green Bay, Wisconsin. What a great start to the season. Jordan Love looks so good against the Bears. Although we did win, we had some losses in the injury category with Quay Walker and Aaron Jones. We're hoping that they will be okay. It was also great to see Dobbs score twice as well. Fantastic win, and always, as always, go Pack go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Caleb Fisher." Thank you so much for Caleb for your email. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, let's check in with our weekly poll that you can find in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod, or I guess we'll just officially rename it right now, X, Packers Fan Pod. What was your favorite play from our victory over the Bears? Was it Quay Walker's bouncy pick 6, Jordan Love's first TD pass, or Aaron Jones's first TD, which was quite beautiful?
I'm going to tell you my favorite was Jordan Love's first touchdown pass for a number of reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, we only had to happen once last year to get that on the opening drive. So the fact that he was able to come out and do that on his first game of the season was outstanding. But it was also just like a momentous thing. This was like his first touchdown pass as the new team leader. It was just like, there it is. We got that one done. Now the rest is history, dude. Just keep those things rolling. So yeah, that touchdown pass is definitely my favorite moment of the game.
And I'm a bit torn because that one, common sense tells me that's the one I should pick. But I am going to go with Quay Walker's pick 6 because it got me up off the couch. It was like a few plays did, to be quite honest. But this one got me hitting the rewind button, screaming at the TV in joy. I just couldn't believe the whole thing was actually happening, especially when he bounced off that bear. And I do believe that could be considered the dagger in the game. That was my particular favorite when you look at all of them. And the voting, when you combine Twitter and Facebook, or X and Facebook, it was very, very close. Quay Walker's pick 6 got 45% of the votes. Jordan Love's first TD pass wins with 46% of the votes, and Aaron Jones's first TD of the game got 9% of the votes.
Also, we had some comments on the poll in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group. First off, Janelle said, Quay made me dance, so I had to choose that one. Hope he is okay, though. That hit looked nasty at the goal line. Very, very true.
Yeah, for sure. We got to keep an eye on that. We also have some other insightful comments and posts in the Facebook group unrelated to the poll question. Dickness in the Netherlands says there's so much to love in this game. No pun intended. It absolutely blows my mind. I had good hopes for a win, but this, wow, defense. I mean, I want to see him do it for a couple of weeks in a row, but they finally show the fruits of those defensive draft picks that were promised. Now, keep it up and build on that. Love, above expectation. Young wide receivers and tight end group, same. Aaron Jones, excellent. Please, 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 please be okay. And Carlson, steady. Special teams, very strong. A team effort. I just love to see it.
Absolutely. Also, Colm Nolan in Ireland shared a post in the group from NFL Ireland about our new punter, Dan Whelan's family, getting ready to go to Soldier Field to witness Dan making history. He will become the first Irish-born active player in the NFL in 38 years. That's a fun fact.
I
did not know that. Mm-hmm. Also, Brett in the UK said, unfortunately, I didn't get to see the whole game. Red zone for the first half, then had to sleep before flying out for work early, so caught up with the extended highlights this morning. However, I came into the season with an open mind, was really interested to see how this young team performed. I have to say, from what I've seen from the highlights, I'm sure there are a few lowlights, I'm really excited for the rest of the season. Love looks extremely comfortable behind center, and damn can the guy throw the ball. The young receivers look energetic. Can't wait to see the dynamic when Watson is back. The defense looks solid. Van Ness, what a machine. Quay Walker being Quay Walker. The team looks like they aren't afraid to take a risk and make a mistake along the way. I think there are zero expectations on this team, which is bringing very little outside pressure. I feel that this season we're going to be in for one hell of a ride. Go, Pack, go.
Go Pack Go indeed, Brett. Thank you very much. And Bill Gardner shared one of the funniest videos from that Packers fan and comedian Charlie Barons. It's already a classic in my book. It's the Packers fan versus Bears fan at the grocery store video. Look that up in the group. It's hilarious. If you haven't yet had a chance to see it, I absolutely guarantee that it's going to make any and every Packers fan smile.
I will definitely check that out as soon as we're done recording.
It's short and perfect.
Nice. All these and a lot more great conversations are happening in the group now. Check them all out and please join us. We would love to have you. Love having conversations, especially on game day. And as always, your calls, emails, comments, and support are so much a part of the Packers Fan Podcast. So thank you for being a part of it.
Remember to be part of the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations going on over there. It's at packerscommunity.com. Simply join and answer 3 easy questions so we know you're not some Bears fan trying to find out what it's like to be a fan of a winning football team. Easy peasy. And now, next week is coming at us fast. Your 1-0 Green Bay Packers staying on the road and heading to Atlanta to face the 1-0 Falcons this Sunday, September 17th at 12 noon Central Time. Packers lead the series, believe it or not, Scott, 19-16 games, which includes us winning the last 2 most recent games. In February of 1992, Packers general manager at the time, Ron Wolf, sent the second of 2 first-round draft picks to Atlanta in exchange for the old gunslinger Brett Favre and former Falcons coach Jerry Glanville. he's the man who's at least partially responsible for trading away both Brett Favre and Deion Sanders. Anyway, Coach Glanville had this to say back in 2010 about the trade. I had to get him, Favre, out of Atlanta. I could not sober him up. I sent him to a city where at 9 o'clock every night, the only thing open is Chili Joe's. And that's what made Brett Favre make a comeback, was going to a town that closed down. If I would have traded him to New York, nobody to this day would have known who Brett Favre was. Yeah,
So you're saying he was up too late drinking? Is that's why he traded him?
Or he's saying that it's all to Jerry Glanville's credit that we got Brett Favre and that Green Bay is the reason that he turned it around. I think people would have eventually heard about him one way or another. But still, I just think that's kind of fun. Let's talk a bit about the Packers-Falcons game memories. On New Year's Eve, 1995, the year before Brett Favre and company won the Super Bowl, a big highlight, of course, Antonio Freeman. What a legend. He returned a punt for a touchdown. Green Bay won the game 37-20. And another memory, I hate to bring this one up because it's not really a good one, but it's worth mentioning because of its importance. January 22nd, 2017, the NFC Championship game, and we let the Falcons win somehow, 44-21. They move on to the Super Bowl, blow a legendary 28-3 halftime lead, losing to the Patriots and helping begin a dynasty, I guess. Thanks, Falcons.
Never underestimate Tom Brady. I guess nobody has to worry about that anymore, but still. I actually have a really cool memory to share with you. It was a playoff game in Atlanta on Saturday, January 15th, 2010 or 2011. It was the year we won the Super Bowl. I can never remember when it starts. But I was in Oklahoma visiting my stepdad, who was in the hospital having quadruple bypass surgery. Oh. We made an emergency last-minute trip down there to go visit him. He survived. He's still kicking today. But after the surgery, while he was recovering in the ICU, we were hanging out with him and watching the game. The three of us sat and watched the game together. But since we were in the ICU, we had to be absolutely quiet while we were watching the Packers dominate the Falcons 48-21. So you can imagine how difficult it is for a Packers fan to watch a game and not be able to high five and yell and whoop and everything. My brother and I actually, instead of high fiving, we're raising our elbows and hitting each other's elbow in the air because it was quieter than slapping each other's hands.
That's true.
Of course, this eventually led to the Packers advancing to the NFC Championship game against the Bears, and then the Super Bowl against the Steelers, which they obviously also won. So that is a very memorable Packers-Falcons game that will forever stick in my mind.
Love it. Fantastic.
All right, Wayne. Well, I've got some keys to a Packers victory over the Falcons. Would you like to hear them?
Yes, please. Let's hear them because I'm ready. Sunday can't get here soon enough. What are we going to look for?
Well, number one, the Packers need to be prepared to defend on the ground most of the time. Desmond Ridder will not be the focus of this offense, in my opinion. He may have thrown 83% of his passes complete to receivers, but it was only for a total of 115 yards. The Falcons will attack on the ground, so that's what the Packers defense should prioritize. It shouldn't be much of a surprise. It just comes down to stopping those runs, something that Pack hasn't been great at doing in the past, although they did a solid job this past week. This is the time to prove you're worth your salt. Strategy number two, contain those turnovers. Atlanta had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery against the Panthers this past week. And on top of that, they only allowed 10 points the entire game. The Bears' defense is almost as young as the Packers' offense, so they should expect a much tougher challenge this time around. Keep those passes and runs more fundamental, don't take risks, and for the love of all that is holy, hang on to the ball. I think turnovers are going to be a key for this game. Ooh. And lastly, strategy number 3, don't get ahead of yourselves, or as Dan said, temper expectations. I don't know how you translate that to the team, but a lot of Packers fans I've talked to are already saying the team could go to the Super Bowl. Keep in mind, it's only week 1, and it was only the Bears. I'm very happy that Jordan Love had a great week, but it's 1 win. I'd like to see him come in with just as much expectations on his shoulders, and that goes for the entire team. It's way too early into the season to expect duplicate results. The team is still very young and still figuring things out, but if they can be consistent and dedicated as they were in week 1, there's no reason they can't win this week as well. And there you have it.
Nice work, Scott. Excellent job
Thank you.
putting those together. And yeah, I can see those really working out for us. And again, with the tempering of expectations, you're going to hear a little bit tied to that when you watch that short Charlie Barron's video in
right.
the Facebook group about whether or not he's tempered any expectations. But excellent keys to victory. And yeah, I hardly know anything about the Falcons these days. We don't play them very often. They've been laying low. So it could be a
They've
trap
been choking.
Okay.
Last season was a lot of chokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scott went there. But, if we can win this game as well and go into the home opener 2-0, I think the fans, and not just Megan, but all the fans at Lambeau Field are going to be just hopping.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and check in on our 2023 season wager of fun. Here were Wayne and my predictions from last week. I predicted the Packers would win with a score of 27-20. That was a differential of 11 points for me. And Wayne predicted Packers 19, Bears 16, which was a total differential of 23 points.
Whoa.
So what do you know? Scott takes the lead in week 1 with 1 point to Wayne's 0 points because the Packers obviously won 38-20. I just love having. This might be the first time I've ever had a lead, Wayne,
to start the season in the Wager O Fund.
Yeah,
well done. I can't believe that. Nicely done. I'm just glad the Packers won. I'll accept this loss in favor of the Packers winning.
And I, not to like brag, but I was actually the closest out of even our listeners.
Yeah,
nobody had. I think the closest differential was actually David Newman, who predicted Green Bay 27, Bears 17. That was a differential of 14. So I even beat David, like one of the most knowledgeable football guys I know. I'm just saying I got it. So yes, in first place with one win from our PFP listener section is going to be David Newman, who currently has first place. So congratulations, man.
So amazing. Amazing indeed. Great work. Congratulations to you. Well, let's take a look and see what we think is going to happen against the Falcons this week. And we're indoors. We're at, what is it called these days? Is it still the Mercedes-Benz Dome?
It is. Yes.
I know they've got Chick-fil-A in there at a great price, but they're not open Sundays. So
they have a Chick-fil-A in the stadium?
Yeah, and the owner of the Falcons, to his credit, he doesn't want stadium food to be a big ripoff like it is at, well, almost every stadium. But unless the game's on Monday night or Thursday night, no Chick-fil-A for you. So
why would a company that isn't open on Sundays put one of their chains in a stadium that plays mostly on Sundays?
So, well, maybe a lot of other things happen at that stadium. Nothing I watch, but
there's 2 times a year that you're going to be able to serve food to people that are coming to games, a Thursday night game and a Monday night game. That's it. Doesn't make any sense. My prediction for the Packers-Falcons game, I'm going to give the Packers the edge, but I think it's going to be much, much closer than this week. I'm going to say Packers 21, Falcons 20. It's going to be real tight.
Wow, it does not get any closer than that. And I thought I was picking a close score with Packers 24, Falcons 21, with just a 3-point, margin of victory. Mm-hmm. But the listeners, tell us the first few listeners, because they are predicting happy times.
Oh, yeah. They are not tempering expectations. Megan is going Packers win 24-6. Josh Steimus says Packers win 28-3.
Whoa.
Alex Bartman says Packers win 35-17.
Oh my. And it continues. David Hawkins says he's going with the Packers winning 31-10. And Garrett Stritzel, he's a little bit closer like us. Green Bay 28, Atlanta 24, as well as Brett Connor going Green Bay 27, Atlanta 24. And Dan Dyler calling for a big shutout, just about a shutout, 31-14. Everybody's picking the Packers to win again. I am loving this.
I am as well. That is, whew. Atlanta's a better team, guys.
I don't know. We don't know anything about them. They might be a worse team.
Well, they're struggling in the quarterback position for sure. They don't have the stars anymore. So, and he wasn't used that much. 115 yards for a quarterback in a game is not a lot of passing yards. So
no. So taking a quick look at the NFC North, how about those first place Green Bay Packers at 1-0? Surprisingly, the Lions are 1-0, but we beat a division rival, so there. The Vikings are 0-1, and the Bears losing to a division rival, the Green Bay Packers. The Bears are 0-1 last place. Wah, wah, wah.
Some other NFL happenings that caught our eye this week. I mean, the game just started as of this recording, but man, what a game Monday night's game, tonight's game is going to be. I cannot wait to hop upstairs and see what Aaron Rodgers is doing with the Jets as they are their opener is against the Bills on September 11th. Two New York teams. I thought that was very apropos. I think everybody is just waiting with bated breath to see how Aaron Rodgers does in a different shade of green.
And Randall Cobb. And Alan Lazard. Yeah. But what's funny is you're heading upstairs to watch the game, and I'm going to head downstairs to watch the game. It's a California thing, I suppose. Yeah. Week one is always tricky because so many teams are rusty, especially those that don't play many of their starters in preseason. There were so many upsets, like the Bengals, who just didn't show up prepared at all against the Browns. And also, quick question, are the Steelers and Giants really as bad as they looked in their games this week?
I didn't catch into the San Francisco Pittsburgh game, but the Cowboys shutting out the Giants 40-0. I think their defense scored like 40 fantasy points, which is just insane if you know anything about fantasy football.
No, I don't, but I hope I at least won this week.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of points from a defense. I mean, defenses are really awesome if they get 20 points. So to pull out 40 is just absolutely insane.
Oh, can I give you a quick update that I just got a text message from my son who says Aaron Rodgers has left the game with a slight injury.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
That's what he says. He better not be joking or I'm going to edit it out of this podcast episode. That's what he said.
I don't wish injuries on the guy.
No,
but,
I don't. 65% of the plays. He's got to do 65% or more.
Also, can we talk very briefly? I know it was Thursday night's game. It's kind of old news by now. But how about the Lions overtaking the Super Bowl champs the first week of the season? That was pretty cool to see. I would not have expected. I actually called that the Lions were going to win the NFC North this year, but I did not expect them to take out the Chiefs. That was incredible. I mean, the Chiefs really kind of lost that game. There was some severe drop passes that should have ended the game, and but still very, very interesting week of football. Right, any given Sunday
or Monday night. But yeah, even like a half hour after that Chiefs-Lions game ended, I was like, did that really happen?
Yeah,
that happened. Wow, amazing stuff. You know, I have a second podcast. It hasn't been on the air for, I don't know, like 9 months, 10 months, maybe even a year, but it's almost back. My Doctor Who podcast. It's called Don't Blink. It returns next month to cover 3 60th anniversary episodes of Doctor Who. They legitimately look amazing. Although Doctor Who's been on the air since 1963, except for a brief period in the 90s and early 2000s. If you start to watch Doctor Who, you don't necessarily need to go back to those first episodes from 60 years ago. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you do.
I tried. That's where I started, and now it's like, I don't know, man.
It's best just to start with the 2005. Even that's a pretty good chunk of episodes. You know, you start with Christopher Eccleston, and there's a lot of really good episodes in there.
So much TV to watch. No time. I also have a second podcast. It's called The Gaming Outsider, where we talk about video games, and we're releasing a new episode every Wednesday, but this upcoming release, I'm actually not on the episode because, as I mentioned, I was up in the UP of Michigan, but Zach and Alyssa recorded without me and talked about what got us into gaming. And you can also hear Zach's impressions of the latest Final Fantasy game, which happens to be on mobile, so be sure to check that out. We're also having a video game convention on Saturday, October 14th in Rockford, Illinois. I would love it if you checked it out. You can find more details at thegamingoutsider.com/R2V2. Also, very quickly, I just want to mention one more time, I was a guest on another podcast called Quest Markers, where host Marina Ryan invited me to talk about my favorite video game of all time, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I highly recommend checking it out. It was just an absolute delight to talk to her, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thank you so very much for giving back to your Packers Fan Podcast via Patreon. We really appreciate it. It's a great way to support the show with a fun twist. Details for becoming a patron and other ways you can give back are at PackersFanPodcast.com/giveback. Now, like the original Packer pirate Jim Ringo, listener Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow, sails his own course. Dan, thanks for supporting the podcast at the Jim Ringo level. Go Pack Go, and thank you. Save? And coming in hot, supporting the PFP at the Aaron Rodgers level, it's Mr. Jay Walters. Thanks, and Go Pack Go to you, sir. And yes, Jay, I'm still planning on creating a classic Bart Starr pledge level like you asked. I just need to get some spare time.
Also, our loyal Brett Favre level supporters are getting their thank yous and Go Pack Goes. Colm Nolan from Ireland, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposite Track podcast. Also, Curly Lambeau level Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Hank Davis from the TPE Network and Joe Christensen. And as Wayne mentioned, if you would like to give back to the show, maybe even become a patron of the old PFP, check out details at PackersFanPodcast.com/give back. As a reminder, we are the unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we would absolutely love to be. If you know somebody, have them give us a call. You know how to get a hold of us. Please also follow the Packers Fan Podcast where you listen to your podcast. And remember, tell your friends about the show. It really helps us get the word out there, and we do appreciate it. Thanks in advance.
Yes, indeed. And follow us on X at Packers Fan Pod. Follow Scott on X at GoCastScott, and follow me at Wayne Henderson. Now, as we wait for next Sunday's game in Atlanta, here's Patreon supporter Dan Dyler with an assist from Brett Connor in the UK to take us out.
All right, this is Dan, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow, and Brett.
Coming in from Tottenham, all the way from London, England. And this is the Go Pack Go.
Go, 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 go.
Go Pack
Go!